We interview everyday people like yourself that uplift and empower, shifting the narrative of news from a traditional negative experience to more impactful.
Of course. Okay, so jumping right in,
Okay.
when did you start Anna+Pookie or Anna+Pookie?
I started Anna+Pookie in 2018, November of 2018. I hit the go button in November. So I started in 2018.
And what was that final thing that pushed you to starting Anna+Pookie?
Sure. I had struggled for many years trying to find products that represented. It started with my nephew 21 years ago, looking for invitations, looking for party supplies that looked like him. And then it happened again 2 years later when my sister had my niece. And then fast forward to 2016 when I had my daughter. I just got a little, to be honest with you, frustrated because I was like, there are no party supplies that look like me or look like my child. And so instead of getting angry and continuing to be frustrated, I just decided to go for it and look for party supplies and start that look like me and look like us, but also producing those pieces. I produced what I wanted to see and how I wanted my child represented.
So how does one go about creating a party supply line? Like, what did that look like for you?
Well, it was all new to me. I had no background, no experience. My background professionally is in marketing, but I had no idea. I knew I needed designs, and I'm not a designer. So I started honestly reaching out to illustrators whose work that I felt would reflect my brand. And I reached out to them, kind of explained to them what it was I was trying to do. It was kind of hit or miss with finding people. And from there, I found a couple of designers whose work I liked. They did samples. We kind of collaborated. I knew which themes I wanted to work on, which was a ballerina theme, a mermaid theme, definitely, and a princess theme. And we kind of collaborated. I told them the colors I wanted, the look and feel. I wanted it to be whimsical. I wanted it to be fun. I wanted it to be magical. And so I kind of gave them those directives. And from there, they would send me ideas back and forth. And it took about, I would say about 3 or 4 months to kind of get the look and feel I wanted. From there, I had to find who was going to produce these for me. Where am I going to get them printed? And what quantities do I need to print them in? And so again, a little bit more research, a lot of late nights of Googling things and communicating with people even overseas. And I found a manufacturer in China who I work with, and they print all of my pieces for me and they ship them here. And it's just kind of been kind of me doing the research, a lot of long hours. Cause like I said, I don't know anybody that has ever done this before. And so I just have kind of just been doing it myself and trying to figure it out along the way. But it's been rewarding. I've learned a lot about party supplies. I've learned a lot about the industry. I've learned a lot about being a business owner in the past 4 or 5 years. So it's just kind of doing it on my own and doing a lot of research,
So what was it like for you to have a tangible object to show that your idea had come to fruition?
Honestly, it was one of the most overwhelming experiences I've ever had. I'll be honest with you, by nature, I'm a procrastinator. I'm a warrior, but I'm also a procrastinator. And so this was something though that I kind of hit the ground running. And so when I got the physical product, I cried because I was overjoyed because I had something, like you said, tangible that I can say, hey, this is something that I created. This is something that I am bringing to the community, bringing to people, celebrating children. So it was a lot of overwhelming emotions, but I would say just overjoyed was one of the emotions that I had because I actually had done it. As a small business owner, I had actually taken an idea that was in my head and actually had something that I could show people and that hopefully could bring a lot of joy to children around the world to see themselves in party products.
So bouncing off of that, what has been the response from either your community or, people who have taken notice of what you're doing?
The response has been overwhelming. A lot of people have reached out to me and I get comments all the time. It's like, oh my God, I never knew something like this existed. And I was responding back to them, well, it just came about in 2018. We've been an overlooked community when it comes to the party supply aisle. And so to hear those comments, or my daughter opened this box and she was like, oh my gosh, she looks like me, or to hear a mom of a boy or a dad of a boy say, I never knew that I needed this, that my child needed this. So the response has been overwhelming. I am doing better than what I expected, to be honest with you, because I don't have big budgets. I don't have big marketing budgets, and I'm kind of, shoestringing it along. But the response has been overwhelming. And a lot of people tell me two things, like I said, I get a lot of is that this is amazing. I'm glad that my child can see themselves. And some people will, and the other part will say, I didn't even know that I needed this until I saw it. So it's overcoming that too. It's like, yeah, we should be a princess on a plate or a cup, to celebrate our celebrations, our memorable moments. So I've been overwhelmed with the response, to be honest with you, because like I said, I'm shoestringing it and doing a lot of these things by myself. So.
What impact do you feel that you and your business have made on the Black community?
Oh gosh, I think the impact is reminding us that we deserve a space in an industry that has overlooked us for a long time. It just blows my mind, honestly, and I'm glad they hadn't, because it's been an opportunity for me, but it blows my mind that nobody else, and I'm talking about big companies, have never thought to do this, and why it has not been important. But I think reminding us that we are worthy, that our kids do deserve to be celebrated, that they do deserve to be seen in these whimsical, fun places. I think that has been a huge impact, and just reminding us that we deserve to be celebrated. Our children deserve to be celebrated, no matter how big or small. They deserve to be celebrated.
So on your website, I noticed that you use the term culturally relevant.
Mhm.
So what does that mean to you?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. I think culturally relevant, it's not necessarily a color. I think it is more of a feeling that something gives to you, that resonates with your being. And I think that's what my party supplies do. They're culturally relevant because when you see them, instantly you feel happy. Instantly you feel you feel pride in your culture. You feel, good about yourself. So I think that's really what I mean when I say that. It's culturally relevant. It shows people of color, particularly Black people, in Black children, more importantly, in a positive light that shows us and reminds us that they need to be celebrated and that their culture needs to be celebrated.
And so where did you come up with the ideas in terms of these whimsical themes? Because you could have chosen anything, but I noticed, mermaids and superheroes. So where does that inspiration come from?
So I have a 6-year-old, and she has been a true guide to me in this world, as far as looking at the things that she's been interested in, and just really kind of using my gut to say, I know she likes mermaids. I know other little girls love mermaids. And also in doing research and seeing what's out there, what's popular, and even looking for those places where there are gaps. If you go to party supplies, large big box party supply stores, you will go down the aisle or you will search on their websites and you will see superheroes. But the superheroes are 9 times out of 10 not Black people. And so there is a gap in the market that I'm looking to fill. You see a princess, it may be Princess Tiana. She's the only princess that you ever see. And so I'm like, we need more than one princess. And we definitely need more princesses that don't spend most of the movie as an animal, as a frog. So looking for that. But like I said, a lot of it comes from looking at my daughter, looking at her friends when they have parties. What are the things that they're interested in? What are the things they're excited about? And just kind of going from there.
And since you've started this business, because you've got a little bit of time under your belt since you've been doing this, what are some challenges and some successes that you've seen?
Challenges are always, for small female Black-owned businesses, One of the challenges is always going to be capital. I was fortunate enough that I was given an angel investment by my mom when I first started. She invested in my company, and my husband and I have invested in my company. So that's always a challenge for small Black businesses. Just the revenue to keep moving, to keep evolving, to keep innovating. We need that. Success, I would say, honestly, some people will see it not as so big, but for me, like you said, the time in normal businesses, it's a small span of time, 4 or 5 years, a very small window. But for small businesses who a lot of times go out of business the first, second, and even in the third year, for me to still be here, rolling out new themes, looking for other things to roll out to expand the company, has definitely been some of my success. And I would think also, I would say some of my success is also, like I said, when I get those notes, when I get those reviews that thank me for having something like this, I think that is the ultimate level of my success, or show of my success.
I'm going to back up a little bit because you talked about expansion, which leads me into my next question. So, do you have any plans of growing or expanding, or where do you hope to take Anna+Pookie?
Oh gosh, yes, there are always plans to expand. There are always plans to grow. I'm in this for the long haul. I have no plans of going anywhere. Of course, I would like to expand into retail. I have a few wholesale accounts that I do now with specialty stores and party supply stores, but I would, love to be in a big box retailer at some point. And, you walk down the aisle and you see Anna+Pookie. But if that doesn't happen, I'm still going to continue to roll out new themes. And ultimately, like I said, to look into things I want to do, from costumes and things like that. Things that just celebrate our children or offer our children an opportunity to have fun and enjoy their childhood. So those are a couple of things that I'm eyeing and that are on my vision board that I want. Definitely retail, bigger retail, I should say that, larger retail, and just growing the business to more offerings, new themes. I have a couple of themes that I haven't released yet, so we're going to release those in the next several months. So just constantly thinking of things or looking for ways to keep our customer excited.
So I want to jump back to the beginning and the creation of your company.
Mhm.
It is difficult to start something new, and especially in your case, something that no one else was doing. So what support system did you have in creating all of this?
I have a wonderful husband who honestly has been great in supporting me in this endeavor. He never once, tried to steer me away from it or discourage me from doing it. He thinks it's actually pretty cool that I'm doing it. And also my family. Like I said, my mom was an investor initially in the company. And it is a family run business. Like I said, my daughter, my 6-year-old daughter, she helps pack. She helps me take things to the post office. My mom helps sometimes she comes over and helps pack orders. I have an aunt, I have a niece. And so it's really been a family affair. And that has been my support system. And then I have a couple of really good friends who I'm able to bounce ideas off, kind of just let go sometimes and talk about, challenges I may be facing or things that I just, may have hit a brick wall with that I need to bounce ideas off. I have a really good friend who is in marketing, and she is kind of my sounding board. And I will tell anyone who is running a business, especially a small business, and if you are kind of doing things on your own, make sure that you do have a support system. Make sure you do have friends and family that can sometimes pull you away from the business so you don't get so overwhelmed or you don't get so bogged down. But also have people in your corner who can be your sounding boards, who can help you make some of those tough decisions. But I would say for me, my support system, definitely my family and a couple of close friends.
That's good to hear. Were you ever impacted by the pandemic? Because there was a time where people weren't having birthday parties. So did your business ever take a hit from that?
Well, yeah, like all businesses, last couple of years was a little difficult. But the great thing about it and what we were able to do, what I was able to do, and I saw other like businesses or similar businesses that relied on the event space, you pivot and you explain to people that even though you're not able to gather in person, that does not stop the celebrations. And so we have a party in a box offering that we have on our website. And so we encourage people, order those, send pieces of that out and have virtual parties. You know, Zoom became very big or even larger. And so you can still have those celebrations and celebrate and create those memorable moments. You just have to do it a little differently. And you may have to be a little creative, more creative. And I think that's where we came in. You get everything in a box that you need, and all you have to do is set up the Zoom, mail out a couple of things, and you can still have that princess party.
I'm getting down to my last few questions. So, how do you feel that you've grown as a business owner and in all aspects since you've started your business?
I think my confidence level has grown. I always believed in the mission of my company to create memorable moments for our children. But I think I had to, by nature, I'm an introvert. And I've had to kind of get over that and be the spokesperson for the business. So I've grown in that area as far as confidence and believing in myself in that. And I think just I've grown a lot I've always trusted my gut, but I think I may have questioned it a little bit more. I think with some of the success I've had, I don't question as much. My gut has led me to the places that I needed to be when I needed to be them. So I trust that 100% now. And I think just growing in the area of knowing when things may not be right for my business or may not be a fit, and not being fearful that if I turn this opportunity down, another door won't open and it'll be a bigger opportunity. So I think those are places that I have definitely grown, trusting in myself and trusting my business instinct with what I'm doing.
The last thing that I wanted to ask you is, what do you want readers to take away from you or your story once they read it?
Oh gosh, that's a great question. I want people to take away that every day is an opportunity to celebrate. Every day is an opportunity to celebrate and make sure that our children know that we celebrate them and that we value them and that we want to have fun. I think that's the biggest thing. If anything, the pandemic taught us is that that moments are fleeting, and it's up to us to figure out how we want to spend those moments. And I want people to spend those moments celebrating each other, celebrating life, and more importantly, celebrating our children, because they need that. If we want them to be happy and whole and grow up to be, you know, the type of people that we want in the world leading us, we have to make sure that they feel valued and that they feel celebrated. So that's in a nutshell, that's what I want people to walk away from this conversation with.
And is there anything that you feel that I missed or that you wanted to emphasize or touch on more within the story or this interview?
Yeah, I think it's interesting that you maybe you've read this, that the name, where the name comes from. Did you read that?
I did, but you can share.
Okay. So the name of Anna+Pookie, I grew up in a family, no matter what the occasion was, my mom and my grandmother particularly made sure that we felt celebrated. And in growing up, going to college and even just having relationships, I found that a lot of people growing up did not celebrate their birthdays. I mean, and my grandmother would just make a box cake sometimes and put frosting on it, put candles in it, and we would sing happy birthday to whatever family member it was. And so that was one of that had my childhood was filled with those type moments. And so when I started thinking about the name of the company, I always liked the name Anna+Pookie because Anna is my older sister. That's her nickname. And Pookie was my nickname growing up. And those were names that were given to us by my father. But I wanted to do a throwback to a time in my life that I was happy, or happiest, or some of the happiest times in my life. And so that was my childhood. And so I named the company out of our childhood names.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. A lot of people like, is Pookie a dog? Is it a dog company? I'm like, no, it's our childhood names. And I thought about it, changing the name, but I'm like, no, it's my story. It's my reality. It's who I am. There are a few, I know you know me if you still call me Pookie. You really, really know me. And it's probably maybe two of my aunts now that still call me Pookie. Everyone else calls me Andrea, but I laugh. My niece and nephew, sometimes when they're joking with me, they call me Pookie, and I answer, but it's who I am. It's who we are. And it was our childhood. So, and they made it very special for us.
That's great. It's nice to see that you want to celebrate not just children, but especially an underserved community, which happens to be Black children, as unfortunate as it may be.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, I was just blown away with people who did not celebrate their birthdays. I'm like, even if you just get a cupcake and put a candle in it and sing happy birthday. But a lot of people don't grow up that way. And I think that's unfortunate. It's kind of sad that doesn't happen. So if we can help with some of that, I'm definitely all for that.
Well, that was my last question. So thank you. Did you have anything that you wanted to ask me before I explain how the process works?
No, I think you'll answer my questions in explanation. And if I have any questions there, I do want to have a question. How did you find me?
So I looked up inspirational women in 2021,
Mhm.
and you and your inspirational Black women, and you and your company came up along with a bunch of other. If you're interested, I can send you the website where I found out about your
Because
company.
I have no clue where that would have been.
Mhm. And so I was like, wow, this is a great idea. So ran it by my boss, and here we are.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Because again, like I mentioned, it's hard to get publicity. I did a press release that I kind of did myself and sent it out. Black Enterprise picked it up earlier this year, which was big for me. So to hear that there are other places is awesome. That that my message is out there is awesome. So thank you for choosing me.
Of course. So next steps. I will work on the story immediately. And while I can't promise you a release date, when the story is ready and when everything is ready, you'll be the first to know. And how that'll work is I'll send you a follow-up email with the link to the story once it's completed, as well as the link to this interview, which will go on YouTube.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
So you'll have the opportunity to share that however you see fit. In the meantime, we do feature photos in the stories. And so if you have any pictures that you would like, maybe like 3 to 5, if you want to send them over,
Okay.
I'll send you a follow-up email after this interview is over, because sometimes people get busy and they forget.
Okay.
So we do feature photos. Just send whichever ones that you would like to see of yourself, and I'll put those in for you. The only thing I'll say with photos is if there's somebody that like you specifically want identified, if like, for example, if you sent me a picture of yourself and your sister, if you could send me her name, like along with the picture, that would be helpful.
Okay.
And then once the story is done, I'll send it to you, and that'll be that. And I'll send you like a follow-up email and a thank you email. And my boss likes to send out like personalized thank yous. So I'll ask you for your address or your mailing address if you're comfortable sharing that.
Absolutely.
And that's how it'll work.
Okay. Where are you located? What city or where are you located?
I currently live in San Marcos, Texas.
Oh, okay. Okay. What is that near?
It's like 30 minutes away from Austin. It's right in between Austin and San Antonio.
Okay. Okay. I'm outside of Atlanta, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's it. Did you have anything for me?
No, that was it. Thank you so much again for featuring me and for wanting to do this. I really, really appreciate it.
Of course. It makes me want to be little again because there was definitely nothing like this when I was having birthday parties, themed birthday parties. And I can only imagine my mom probably would have went crazy if something like this would have existed back then.
Yep. And you can still use them. I had one of my girlfriends, I'm not going to tell my age, but she had a milestone birthday and she used the Princess party supplies
Oh,
for her party for girlfriends. Like she did like a tea party. So it's never too late. And I have a college professor, actually, I graduated from Spelman and she ordered a ton of stuff and she has no kids and she lives alone. So I'm assuming that she uses them herself or maybe even gave them away. So there's still time.
just out of curiosity, would you ever think about doing like different age ranges?
I have thought about it
Mm.
because I do have older people, maybe like people that are maybe in their 30s, 20s, 30s that have reached out to me. Yeah, as we grow. I've even thought about maybe doing, at some point, some customization and things like that. But we just have to grow a little bit more for me to kind of get into those realms. But right now we're gonna focus on the kids. And then as we grow, we'll start doing some more older.
Well,
Absolutely.
that's good. And I'm
for
excited to
listening.
see how.
Continue to listen and support our journalism at WeINSPIREmovement.org. Hit us up on all our social media for daily inspiration. Nothing but the good news.